Hey there, I'm the Mad Catster, and Clarice and I are glad to see you here. We have got some terrible, tragic news to discuss, and I'm not talking about the hideous situation in Ukraine, and if you notice, I'm wearing blue and yellow in solidarity with Ukraine. I'm talking about the Ace family and the devastating news that they shared with us yesterday that they are leaving YouTube. I was beside myself all night. I couldn't sleep a wink when I heard that, and we're going to talk about it and what it means, and we're going to get into it now. First, I just want to say that our thoughts and prayers are with the people of Ukraine. What's happening over there is absolutely horrific. It's had me so upset, literally, for the last few weeks now. And just as a matter of trivia, I'm actually descended from the founders of Ukraine and Russia. But that's a story for another video. And Sybil has also come to join because she's so upset about the Ace family and what they've told us yesterday. But I also wanted to let you know that tragically, a couple of weeks ago, I lost one of my cats unexpectedly. My feral one-eyed cat, her name was Beatrice. And if you stay tuned at the end of the video, I will tell you about her story. But anyway, so yesterday, the Ace family and Mr. Shithead McBroom and Mrs. Shithead McBroom came on to tell us in what I can only describe as an infomercial, the fact that because of all of the things that they've wanted to do and haven't been able to do with their family, 2022 is going to be the last year that they're on YouTube.
This is the last year that the Ace family will be on YouTube.
But of course, this being the Ace family, their announcement had some caveats and some qualifiers, and we'll talk about that in a second. So anyway, so they came on yesterday with a video saying we're leaving YouTube forever, and they talked about how, you know, they had some sad news that they were leaving YouTube. They had some good news, which we'll talk about in a second, but that this all came down to they wanted to do this last year, they claim.
We actually wanted to make this video a year ago, and we wanted a year ago to be our last year, but we just can't seem to stop doing what we love to do.
But because of circumstances, which we all know what the circumstances are, they were foreclosed on. They had to move into a rental house. They got sued and had to settle multiple lawsuits, but they still have lawsuits going on. So clearly they were in no position to take off from YouTube since this is their primary source of income. But they also talk about how they want to take next year off and travel with their family.
Next year, in 2023, we want to do a lot of traveling with the family. What I mean by traveling, I mean probably traveling for like half the year. And not only travel, but also work on some big projects.
Now, Catherine Dolores McBroom, of course, makes a point to say, oh, this isn't forever. Oh my God, what a surprise. Not forever?
Also, we're not saying that we're gone forever. We're just saying that we're not going to be as consistent anymore.
I'm shocked. But anyways, they talk about how they're going to travel all these places. They say, oh, we're going to travel like 10 or 20 places. And you know what that means? There's no way that these people are taking their family on the road for a whole year, traveling all over to these places, and they're not going to post videos. Come on. Come on. They're going to post videos. You know they are. I would guarantee you it's going to be on YouTube. And in fact, Catherine then later on goes on to say, oh, we won't be posting as often. Well, clearly they're not leaving YouTube if they're saying that they want to post infrequently so that they can save their account, basically. Obviously try to keep their followers in place. But they'll be, I'm assuming, posting every time they travel somewhere. So they're not really leaving YouTube. Then they go on to talk about how they've got this festival coming up at some point this year in August, I think they said, and they're going to be selling tickets starting next month to this festival, which is going to have like rides and games, and you get to meet the Ace family, etc. And get this, so here's Catherine talking about the tickets, and what she's saying is it's $2.99 for 3 people on one ticket, which is a silver ticket, so it's $100 a person, or for $4.99, 5 people can enter on a gold ticket, and there are some bonuses. But here, listen to Catherine.
You purchase a ticket and then you can invite literally whoever you want plus 2. Okay?
So one ticket counts as 3 tickets, basically.
Exactly. So that ticket is $2.99, so that's basically like $100 a person. And then the second ticket option is you get a ticket and then you get a plus 4. So it's a total of 5 people, and that's for $4.99. Yeah. So it's $100 a person again. So
basically what Catherine is saying is you're going to buy these tickets. You're going to get to, if you get a gold ticket, you get to guaranteed to meet the Ace family.
This VIP Pass gold ticket is something special. It is valid for the entire year of 2022. So everything we have going on this year, you guys get to be a part of.
And then Austin tells us about this wonderful bonuses. We get to watch him in his next fight coming soon. Well, we've been hearing that for what, a year now?
Wait, there's more. You also get to watch my next fight for free, which is coming up very soon. I'll be making an announcement very soon. We're also going to be picking 2 random VIP pass members to join us at my fight.
You get to watch it for free instead of paying, what is it, the $29.99 or whatever, $49.99 pay-per-view. Clearly, it's not another Social Gloves event. It sounds like it's just a one-off fight. 2 lucky winners will actually get to go to the fight and watch him fight. So, I don't know. I'll believe that when I see it, first of all. Second of all, he hasn't even announced the fight yet. But we all know how this goes down. The Ace family is famous for saying one thing and doing something else, and for pulling all kinds of questionable actions. So is this contest going to be for real? Are there really going to be 2 winners? They didn't really announce any of the specifics. So is travel going to be included, or do you just get 2 tickets? So whoop-de-doo, if you don't live in Los Angeles, are you really going to fly all the way there to watch him fight, or to Las Vegas, or wherever it is? I don't know. Is it really worth the price of an airline ticket in a hotel room? I don't think so. But anyways, some of you might. But then the shocker, if you can call it that, because I've always been skeptical of this, they talk about this year is going to be their wedding. And Austin goes on, and you can see it right here. He says it.
Already, we're just gonna say it.
Okay.
Our wedding's this year.
Oh, yeah. I feel like we haven't shared that, though. We've always talked about it throughout the years.
We've shared it
but
this year.
it's happening this year, guys. Like, officially.
Okay, so I have a couple of questions. The first is, so are you saying that all this time they've not really been married, which is kind of what I think I and a lot of people have suspected, because there's never been any kind of a show of a certificate. And there was these pictures they showed of them allegedly getting married in jeans and t-shirts, but there were like no people there. There was no, I didn't even see a minister or anything. I don't know, maybe Catherine's crystals married them. Who knows? Stranger things have happened with these people. But it sounds to me like one of 2 things. They never have been married, so Catherine's basically illegally been calling herself Catherine McBroom. And she signed documents as that. So if they're not really married, then she's been using a fake name when she signed her signature. You can't call yourself Catherine McBroom if you're not really married to him, unless you legally change your name, which she did not do. Or number 2, they said, hey, we never had a wedding. Let's have a wedding and we'll sell tickets to it for viewers to watch us pay-per-view, and we'll make a lot of money because we see other people doing it. That could be the second option, could be more accurate. I don't know. We'll find out. But so my question also is, so in that gold ticket, they say you get to come to all the stuff they do in 2022. So do you get to go to their wedding if you buy a gold ticket? And what if like 1,000 people or 5,000 people buy that? Where the hell are they going to have their wedding? In a stadium? My guess is you probably don't get to go to the wedding, but I don't know. We'll have to wait till they have more details coming out. It's just ridiculous. But anyway, so that's the latest from them. I don't buy it. I take everything that they say with a pinch of salt. Half of what they say is bullshit, and I am very skeptical about whether or not they are going to just be posting infrequently next year. I think they're not going to be able to resist having themselves on YouTube, and they're not going to want to be falling out of the limelight, and they're probably going to be posting everywhere they go, and they'll probably have these long videos about their trip, but we'll wait and see. Who knows? That's what they're saying. But if you stay tuned after this, I'm going to talk about Beatrice, the cat that tragically died. And I thank you very much for watching. I'm sorry it's taken me a few weeks to get this video up, to get a video up. My cat that died was kind of tough for me because it was not expected. And I've also not been feeling well again. My damn voice and my cough. I do have a couple of other things that I had waiting to put into production, so I'll get those going as well. I have one that's a murder mystery that I haven't done one of those in a long time, but I had shot like B-roll footage on site or on location of this particular murder. So I'm going to try to get that put together, and that's a little bit different obviously than this format. Some of you have told me you are interested in those videos, so I will do that. But I've also got a couple of other things that I had put on hold that I will get working on too this week. Hopefully by the weekend I'll have another video up for you guys. I really appreciate your support. Some of you have said some really nice things. I know that some of you are aware about Beatrice's situation because I had posted on my channel about it. I thank you. Stay tuned after this. Subscribe, like. Let's keep trying to grow the channel. I will have more content coming for you very shortly, and take care of yourself. So thanks, you guys who stayed afterwards. I know a lot of you really like the cat stories, and unfortunately, I promised you the next one was not going to be sad, but it was not. It's out of my control. This situation happened. Unfortunately, you never got to actually meet Beatrice in person, which kind of would have been difficult because I'm going to talk to you about her right now. She had one eye. She came from the streets of New York City. She had a really tough life. I don't know what happened to her eye. Nobody knows what happened to her eye. She had what they call double paws. She had like the extra toes on her feet. She was very cute. I'll put some pictures up here of her, and I've got some video. So Beatrice was from the streets of New York, and like a lot of the cats that I've adopted, she literally was going to be put to sleep. They tried all they could to find this group that I am involved with. Tried all they could to find either a rescue or a foster home or something for her to take her in, and nobody wanted her. She was a feral cat, and if you know what a feral cat is, they're like cats that really have grown up without any direct human interaction, so they're usually very afraid of people. And Beatrice, that was the way she was. The day they were going to put her to sleep, like this happened to me so many times, I agreed at the 11th hour that I would take her because I was, she was a young cat. She, maybe was a couple years old. I hate to see cats like that have had these horrible lives living on the streets of New York, and, nobody wants them, and, they end up getting trapped by somebody who thinks they're doing them a favor and brought to the freaking... I always say this, why do you bring cats to animal control? Animal control is basically a death sentence for a lot of cats and dogs. If you're going to do something like that, at least find a rescue or a no-kill shelter or something. And, with strays or feral cats, it's a little different because they, have no home. But it's especially angering for me, the people that have cats for years and then they don't want to take care of them in their old age, so they dump them off, and instead of rehoming them or finding a shelter or something for them where they're going to be safe, they take them to animal control to be put to sleep. I told you about Louie and Margot, the brother and sister that I had that both unfortunately died last year, but they were old cats, so they wasn't like a tragedy per se. That person had them for 13 years and then just said, oh, I don't want to deal with your illnesses, I'm going to drop you off to be put to sleep. And it's like, they were with me for almost 4 years, so they weren't at the end of their life, and frankly they still had good years to give, and they were great cats. Yes, Margot was diabetic and Louie got sick toward the end, but they were unbelievably lovable cats. So it makes me mad. So anyways, I digress. I had Beatrice for 4.5 years. Literally until she got sick very recently, and suddenly I had only ever touched her once in 4.5 years. Because even though she lived with me that long, and even though she would let me get near her, like if I was feeding her, she wouldn't run away. If I bent down, she would stand next to me while I put food in her bowl. But if I tried to touch her, she would be off away from me because she was scared. So I don't know what happened to her. It must have been horrible on the streets, because I just can't believe in 4.5 years that we never were able to form enough of a bond that I could actually pet her. I have video of me petting her, and I'll put it up where I first got her. I was petting her, and then all of a sudden, a few weeks ago, I noticed she was throwing up. She was still eating and everything, so I wasn't real concerned, because cats, if you've had cats throw up a lot. And actually, what's really funny is I read an article a couple of years ago by some guy who was saying, oh, cats don't throw up. And I was thinking to myself, this guy clearly has never had a cat. My cats throw up all the time, which is why I have hardwood floors literally throughout my entire house, because it's very easy to clean up. They do throw up. Anyway, so I wasn't alarmed at first. And then I noticed a couple of weeks ago when I was close to her and she was like in the sunlight, and I said, geez, she's lost weight. So then I got worried, because then I thought, sometimes they get obstructions in their bowels that make them sick and stuff, or it could be something worse. I don't know. So I was able to call and make an appointment for the next day. And what I did was, at breakfast, after she had eaten, she was drinking some water. I was able to actually get behind her and scoop her, because like I said, she would let me get near her, but she wouldn't let me touch her. So she wasn't real happy. She hissed at me, but she never scratched or bit or anything. So I brought her to the vet. She was unbelievably good at the vet. I actually got to pet her for quite a while the vet was looking at her, and she actually let them do everything to her. It was amazing. But they found a mass in her. I'm touching poor poor Sybil's my show and tell. So they like rubbed her stomach and he felt a mass and he had me feel it and I could feel it. It was like a knot in her, I don't know whether it was her intestine or stomach or what it was, but so he said it's probably lymphoma. It's very common in cats. And so, I was upset, but I thought, well, let's find out more, let's do a MRI or ultrasound and find out. So he gave her some anti-nausea stuff by injection and gave her some fluids. And so I brought her home and she seemed okay. She wouldn't eat that night, but she was drinking water. And I went to bed, and when I got up in the morning, she was lying. I have a heated bed on the floor here by my desk, which she liked to lie in. She was lying there, but she looked strange because she was lying like stretched out. She never did. So at first, I honestly thought she had died. And when I touched her, she did move her head and she looked at me, and I could see that, she was breathing really shallow. So I called the vet right away and I'm like, I've got to bring her in. So they said, bring her in. So I brought her in and they took a look at her, and my vet was like, she's not going to make it. So, it's probably best to put her out of her misery. So that was the first time ever I actually held Beatrice in my arms. And I cradled her for like 20 minutes and talked to her because she was conscious. I could see her pupil, was like normal slit pupil. So I knew she was conscious. And she looked at me and I just talked to her and, I just said things to her to try to comfort her. And then they put her to sleep. And it was really hard because she was not very old and I hate to see young cat. But what was really weird was it was like the day before she was, fine other than, being sick and throwing up, but I just couldn't believe she deteriorated like that and right after a visit to the vet. So I'm wondering what happened. I had reached out to my vet and, I don't want to I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but I had read that I looked at the bill from the day before and looked at the stuff they gave her. And so I looked up this particular anti-nausea that they gave her, and I read online that it's not approved for use in cats, and I don't have an issue with that because there's a lot of medications that are not approved for use in cats that actually are very, very good and helpful. And you've met Eugenie. Her life was saved by a drug that wasn't approved for use in cats, but it was a human leukemia drug that literally saved her life. But anyway, so that didn't bother me so much. But then I started reading what some of the possible side effects, and even though they were rare, one was extreme lethargy and fainting and stuff. And then I really felt bad because I was like, what if I put her to sleep and if I had just given her some fluids and stuff, she might have recovered. But my vet claims he doubts that was the case. I don't want to dwell on it because I will just eat myself alive with guilt, and I don't want to have that haunt me. So, I think it was her time, and it was unfortunately sudden, but, she had 4.5 years of love and security and good food and a warm place to sleep. And so I'm grateful for the 4.5 years that I got to give her that. And I will miss her, even though I didn't have as strong of a bond with her as I have with most of my other cats. I still, obviously loved her. And I will miss her. And, the one thing I loved about her was she had an absolute fixation on television. If I would have the TV on in here while I was working, she would come and she would sit, and she literally, with her one eye, I don't mean to make light of that, it's just kind of funny. But with her, she would sit there and she would literally stare and watch the TV, and I could see that she was following the movements. It was so funny. She just obviously she'd never seen TV because she was living on the streets, but it's just so funny because I don't really have any cats that are that fixated on television unless there's a ball bouncing around or something. They don't really pay any attention to it, but she just would love to watch it. Anyway, so that's Beatrice's story. Thanks for sticking around. I'll bring you a happy, I promise, unless, God, please no, don't let any tragedies happen. I've had enough for the last year. There's 3 cats in the last year that have died. I really don't want any more to die. And all of my cats are in good health, so I don't have any sickly cats right now. I have one who's really old, and I know her days are numbered, but she just had blood work and she's fine. Her name's Amelie. You've met her. And he says she's fine. So, it'll be natural causes, I think, when she goes. But anyways, I don't anticipate losing any more this year. So fingers crossed, knock on wood. But thanks for sticking around. I really appreciate your support. Please like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate you being here with me and sharing this time. And take care of yourselves.
Pretty please. Subscribe, like, and hit the bell. I get a treat for every new sub. Thank you.